Hi guys, how you doing? Muddle Muppet here. Today's subject is going to be the paranormal. Spooky things, things that go bump in the night. Do you believe in them? Anyway, before we get to that, a little bit about the gameplay. Gotham City Impostors again. I had a fantastic game with the same people that were in this lobby in the round before this, but I wasn't recording that one. But it went on forever. Um, Great play from both teams. It was just an all-round brilliant game. So I quickly put on this to record this game. Well, unfortunately, my PS3 froze in the middle of it. So anyway, I'm just going to put up what's there because it did seem pretty decent. Anyway, things that go bump in the night. Do you believe in them? Do you believe in the paranormal? What do we mean by the paranormal? Well, I think it has to be things that are outside the norms of natural science. Okay, so somebody that has died and come back to life, all these kind of spooky sort of things. How would we know about it if there were spooky things? Some people will say that there are things like voices, and sometimes people will say that they see things. Now, here's something I think that we need to understand: the way that our brain works. This is looking at evolutionary theory, evolution of the brain. Our brain wants to keep us alive. It is constantly vigilant for anything that may be a threat to us. Now, sometimes though, it will confuse things. And say for example, you come in the house and you have some coats and stuff hanging up on a coat rack inside your hallway, and it's dark. You walk in, before you turn the light on, out the corner of the eye, you see a human figure. You see a shape and you have a little panic and you think, fuck, that's somebody out to get me. And then a split second later, you realize that it's just a coat hanging up in the hallway. That all sound pretty clear. Now, basically, we can afford to be wrong. We can afford to make a mistake in thinking that the coat was a person. All that happens is we get a bit of a fright. But we can't afford to be wrong if we get it the other way. If we come in and we see that there's just a coat hanging up there, that turns out to be a stranger. You get where I'm coming from? So our brain has evolved to see things and pre-warn us straight away in an instant, to give us this instant decision making. And it can be afforded to be an error if it warns us of danger that doesn't exist for the majority of the time. So what has happened is that our brain has evolved to see threats, even sometimes when those threats aren't actually there. Our brain has evolved to see faces in particular. This is why you can see faces in clouds. Everyone's done that cloud watching thing where you look out of a cloud, and it's very common to see faces. You can see faces in plumes of smoke or in an open fire and that kind of thing. In primitive times, that would lead people to believe that there were indeed demons in the clouds and demons in the fire. And it's the same with noises. If you're like half asleep and you hear a noise outside, it might at first sound like a sibilant voice, because our brain is trying to interpret the noise that it hears in a way that makes sense, particularly if it involves danger. So we hear wind going through the trees. It sounds something approximate to the same frequencies that a human voice might sound, and our brain will try and make sense of it. It'll try and put the pieces together, especially to warn us if it is a problem. That will make sense. Now, even if you disregard that, the signs and things that we see and hear from the paranormal would have to have a physical cause. Okay? So my daughter once said that there was a handprint on the window at the back of their house, and she was convinced and her friends were convinced that it was caused by a ghostie. And I said no, either it was caused by a ghost, or maybe it was just caused by somebody putting their hand up against the window at some point, and even when it's been cleaned it hasn't been seen, but a certain level of condensation or something makes it visible. Now, this video is in response to a friend of mine, Insidious Minds, who did a video talking about the paranormal where he'd heard some things. Now, even when you hear something, there has to be a physical cause for that, because sound waves have to be made. And sound waves are a physical form. Something has to cause the air to vibrate in a certain way for us to hear it. Otherwise, that means that the noise has been heard directly into our brains, which just starts to really stretch credibility. Anyway, you know what? I don't believe in it. I think I used to when I was younger, but as I got a bit older and saw more of the way that the world works and read more about evolution and how the brain functions, etc., I kind of changed my minds. Anyway, this is where my video had froze, and it's damn shame because it was a bloody good game. So a hi to anyone who was playing that game if they happened to be watching this. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Leave your comments and everything. I love to hear that. This is Muppet out. Bye.